This video is made possible thanks to my patrons, especially Drowsy Lemon, Maemander, Tundra Shark, and Cerulean Shep. Thank you all so much, guys. Mario Kart, eh? Love it. Fantastic game series. It's quite possibly the most universally understood and enjoyed concept for a video game. It's a series that has consistently been one of the best-selling games on each console it's been on. It's one of those things where no matter who you are, no matter who you're with, no matter the circumstance, you can play this game and always have fun. Like, really, try it. I was sent the divorce papers to sign last week, and instead of signing them, I just sat and played Mario Kart, but apparently ignoring the divorce papers doesn't do anything, and now it's just proceeded without my consent. Everyone loves Mario Kart. It's fun and simple to understand, and incredibly satisfying to get good at, and the series has been going on for such a long time at this point where everybody knows what it is. But let me tell you, it wasn't always like this. No. Mario Kart used to be semi-decent? Let's rewind the clock back to 1994. The brand new console from fresh new console manufacturer Sony, the PlayStation, was taking over the world, selling millions of units, attracting game developers both new and old. It was absolutely wiping the floor with the Sega Saturn too. It was affordable, could play CDs, and most importantly, it had a bunch of amazing games. Everyone just had to have a PlayStation. You couldn't go anywhere without people talking about it. The PlayStation was also revolutionary in the sense that it could do actual 3D graphics. None of this Mode 7 mumbo jumbo. It could just produce the most beautiful and stunning graphics ever in 1994. Fast forward to 1996 and Nintendo's next console, the Nintendo 64, had officially been released. It had quite the pitiful launch, only releasing with 2 games outside of Japan, Mario 64 and Pilotwings 64. I mean, to be fair to him, one of these is literally the best game ever made and the other one is Mario 64. Give him a break, it wasn't easy to develop games in a 3D space like this. It's not like today where they can pump out 4 different fully fledged 3D platformers. They could only realistically make one every now and then. So, when looking at what new titles to bring over to the shiny new console, they settled upon Dr. Mario. Yep, that's right, Dr. Mario 64 was the last ever title published by Nintendo for the system. It wasn't at all innovative and was insanely unnecessary. But what wasn't unnecessary? Mario Kart 64, of course. Their most fun multiplayer franchise was back on the N64. The fun tracks of the original now translated into a full 3D experience with new items, modes, and the option for up to 4 people to play together. This was it. Nintendo had just landed on an absolute gem, with it becoming the second best-selling game on the system. Mario Kart 64 ended up selling a whopping 9.8 million copies, which is actually only like a million more than its predecessor, which how? How the hell did Super Mario Kart sell so much? Mario Kart 64 is a vast improvement over the first game in the series, and I sure would hope so. Not like it was really all that hard to do, and obviously the sequel is going to be a ton better than the first game, but oh my goodness, this is one hell of an improvement. The original game was an insane clunkfest. Drifting sucked, the graphics hurt my eyes, and I got a UTI. Not sure how relevant that last one is, actually, but still, that only happened after I played Super Mario Kart. Just like the last game, this one is set up very simply. You pick whether or not you want to do a Grand Prix or a time trial or a versus race, if you select multiple players. Your speed class ranging from 50 to 100 to 150cc, and finally, your character, of which there are 8 available. The character roster has had a slight shake-up since we last saw it. We have the normal picks such as Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Bowser, and Yoshi. Can't have Mario Kart without these guys. But we also have Wario. I mean, that's a fair pick. He is a series antagonist after all and has had quite a few games by this point. And he's finally here, Donkey Kong. That's right, DK Jr. is no more. We have an actual character to play as here. So glad to see he's finally made the jump over to the series. I think one of the things that I find very interesting about Mario Kart 64 in particular is that almost everything is unlocked from the get-go. All of the tracks, almost every single mode and speed class, there are no characters here to obtain. The only thing in this game that is unlockable is Extra Mode, which is just horizontally flipped versions of the tracks in the game. You unlock this by getting a gold trophy in every single cup in the game on 150cc, and it also unlocks this cool alternative background. Now, this is obviously because it's a party game. It was built around using all 4 of the controller ports on the front of the N64, and this was the first ever game console to have 4 separate controller ports built in, and they wanted to utilize that as much as possible by making the game just plug in and play, no additional time required. It means anyone can play and have fun. Feels much more fun that way. Everyone gets to select a character and pick any track or cup that they like. Anyways, Grand Prix Cups are a set of 4 races where you do 3 laps on each track. Yeah, so the 5 races and 5 laps thing from the original Super Mario Kart was completely reworked. I suppose it was kind of an awkward holdover from F-Zero, like that game is insanely fast, so it makes sense why they'd opt for 5 whole laps instead of 2 or 3, and it kind of makes sense for Super because the tracks are really short. I think it's a nice compromise, and thankfully that's how it stays for the rest of the series, for most tracks anyway. There are 4 cups available here just like in the original game. Mushroom, Flower, Star, and Special cups all return here. Thankfully, the Special cup is available in all difficulties, and like I said earlier, it doesn't need to be unlocked. It's a vast improvement over the first game, as you'd get to playing on 50cc, only for easily the best cup featuring the best track in the game to be locked behind the higher, more bullshit difficulties. I'm not against unlockables in video games, but I think at the very least they should be unlockable on all difficulties. Now, items make their triumphant return here, and rightfully so. They were probably the most fun aspect of the original game. Sure, they were stupidly unfair to play against, and the CPUs in that game have their own items that they just used whenever they felt like it, but the items add variety and chaos to what would otherwise be an incredibly boring game. There are a ton of items that return here. The green and red shells, the mushroom, star, banana peel, and lightning all come back here with a few new ones to add to the chaos. Banana peels are nowhere near as deadly as they were in the original game. Hitting one of these, especially when they're at higher speeds, is basically nothing at all to you. Still an inconvenience for sure, but they're nowhere near as lethal. The boo item from the battle mode is here, and it acts sort of similarly to how it did in the first game's battle mode, but it grants you an item as well as turning your cart semi-invisible and turning you invincible for a limited amount of time. The golden mushroom allows you to use as many boosts as you can possibly set off in a short time limit. It's not activated immediately, but once you boost once, you better keep spamming that item button to make sure you can go as fast as you can. There also exists a fake item box in this game, so instead of item panels that are a one-time use and can be driven over like Super Mario Kart, items in this game are boxes that you drive into and respawn at a frequent interval. I think it's a much better way of doing items, and it makes it so much more beneficial for those longer tracks. Item boxes now also no longer have their own dedicated section of the track, as there are now multiple sets of them scattered around each track, and it totally makes the game a league more fun. I cannot express in words how much more chaotic this makes Mario Kart, so having this was a fantastic choice. Anyways, back to the fake item box. It sits on the track and once players is incredibly hard to distinguish from the real one. The only real difference is that the question mark inside of the box is upside down. It's a really subtle hint, but sometimes it's hard to notice when you're going at high speeds. Which, yes, does happen in this game. Unlike Super, you actually manage to gain speed in this game, and it feels incredibly rewarding when you go fast and outsmart the CPUs. But I do think that the fake item box having some kind of way to differentiate it from the regular item box absolutely saves it from being scolded, even if it's just a minor tweak. And finally, for brand new items, the Spiny Shell. This is the one right here. It's the mother of all Mario Kart items and remains a staple of the series to this day. The blue shell targets the person in first place and will hit other racers as it passes on its way to first. It's an insanely powerful item and can cause a massive setback for whoever's in first place. All of the other returning shell power-ups got a triple variant here, alongside the mushrooms and banana peels, pretty much all just giving you 3 of the same item, which can allow for some pretty good strategic plays. It's also worth mentioning that peels, shells, and fake item boxes can be held out behind you while you're driving. They can act as a defense on incoming shells and can actually have other drivers go straight into them, leading them to get hit. The shells do kind of have the same issue they have in Super though, like they're not always entirely accurate when you fire them. Sometimes when you shoot the red or blue shells, it'll just hit a wall and break. It's pointless using it unless you know for a fact you're going to be able to hit someone in front of you. Best saved for a completely straight part of the track. Also, coins are gone, which I'm not shedding a tear over that. Speaking of tracks, we're not looking too bad this time around. The tracks in Mario Kart 64 look great. They're all insanely unique and not a single theme here being repeated across the entire game. Sure, there are a few tracks that share themes where there are remakes of other tracks from the first game, but they're all thematically and gimmickly distinct enough to the point where they don't get boring. You have Luigi Raceway, a nice expansion of the Mario Saga tracks, Koopa Troopa Beach, which is alright, Moo Moo Farm, which returns those stupid fucking moles again, Toad's Turnpike, which is an excellent track for those of you who want to feel like an insignificant little f***. Wario Stadium is a fun scientific diagram of what the grooves on my brain look like. Sherbet Land is air. Calamari Desert is an incredibly unique take on a desert stage with trains stopping the action. Friday Snowland is really only memorable for the fact that it has the Mario 64 penguins. Mario Raceway, Royal Raceway, and DK's Jungle Parkway are nothing impressive, but 64's take on Bowser's Castle is a really fun romp with a bunch of different cool gimmicks and these 6 spiral staircases you get to drive up. Yoshi Valley is only memorable because of the guessing game as to your placement, Banshee Boardwalk is and Choco Mountain is a really cool idea for a stage. It's just a shame I can't see any of it because someone decided it was a good idea to bring a cigarette here. And of course, Rainbow Road is amazing as usual. It's a bunch more fun than the version from Super as it has actual guardrails, so it's not a complete pain in the ass in this one. It still kinda sucks in parts, but I enjoy how long the track is, and I'm amazed they managed to make it as fun as it was for almost being 7 minutes long. But none of this matters if the controls aren't good, and you know what? They're alright. Yeah, really, that's it, they're just alright. Yeah, the controls in Mario Kart 64 aren't really anything special. The only reason they're at the very least tolerable is purely because of the better physics in this entry. The basic controls are fine, but drifting is still a pain in the ass. Like, yeah, at least now you can actually control your drift, but it's still a nightmare to do sometimes, and you can still spin out as you could previously. There's an incentive to drift now though, you're able to get a mini turbo, a little boost you get from properly executing your drift. It's kinda hard to pull off in this game, but I know it becomes godly in future entries. Speaking of spinning out, it's still here. You can still spin out at the start of a race. It's a lot less generous than it was before, but it's because of quite possibly one of the best features in this whole game when it comes to basic racing fundamentals, the rocket start. The rocket start is something that you can get in this game from charging up your card at just the right time. It allows you to get a huge boost of speed, similar to that from Mushroom, and can get you leagues ahead of the competition. The competition that also rubber bands me to death. Yeah, so the rubber banding in this game is actually worse than it was in Super Mario Kart. You thought that Donkey Kong Jr. was close? Well no, try Wario. The rubber banding in this game is so incredibly tight and leads to some very close finishes. It does add a bit more challenge to the game, especially on 100 and 150cc, but sometimes they're just constantly on you and don't leave you alone. I also think this game has an issue with opponents getting too far ahead as well. Like, seriously, sometimes these guys just get so far ahead to the point where they're unrealistically far away. It's kinda unfair. Like, no matter how many boosts I use, I still lose purely because of the fact that the CPUs decide to cheat. Not as badly as the first game though. Something I find frustratingly stupid is the fact that the rank out system is still here. Yeah, so if you finish a race below 4th place, you lose. You have to retry the race again. And it's stupid. I mean, it certainly is better than it was in the first game because at least you don't have any stupid lives holding you back. No, you can click retry as many times as you like, so long as you're shit at the game. I think a rank out system is incredibly flawed for Mario Kart when it's not put in its own separate mode that has lives attached to it. I think it's fine for an F-Zero game, since in that game it's intended strictly for single player gameplay and was really fun to get good at. It works so well because it's about challenge and speed management. You have to learn how these controls work and the layouts of the tracks in order to perfect each race. Whereas with Mario Kart, that's a party game. It's not meant for this kind of system. In this, it just feels like a shoo-in thing to try and make the game even more frustrating than it already is. It doesn't incentivize playing more and more to get better and better to climb your way up the ranks. It just feels like being punished for learning or at least making a single mistake. Each item you hit punishes you, and I can't ever see why that would be intentional. I feel like the system was just carried over without much thought because, oh, the last game had it, when in reality it would have been better off without such a harsh system. So, how about them graphics, huh? They look really good actually. They don't hold up all too well these days, but they're certainly not bad. I love how they actually integrated a bunch of 2D Mario sprites in the game. The players in this game aren't actually 3D models, presumably to prevent the N64 from outright exploding. But, despite them being pre-rendered 3D and looking a little weird at times, like, what the f*** is this? They do still have quite the charm to them, and I love how certain actions in this game have this cartoonish text that accompany it. It's really awesome and just adds to how lovely this game looks, but that's where the praise ends, as I actually think the rest of the game is quite ugly. Yes, I understand the fact that this game was made on a console that wasn't all that powerful, and they had to cut corners due to the system using cartridges, but like, come on, really? Stages like Wario Stadium look interesting, certainly not appealing to the eye. I mean, this looks like I'm driving my way to the cemetery to visit my uncle from last time. This isn't all that welcoming of a stage. But apart from the odd thing here and there, it looks alright, I guess. Nothing stunning by any means, but it sure is doing its job. The way the tracks are designed in this one is also really great. A lot of tracks here are super fun and really memorable and wonderful to play on. Sure, they're kinda hard and unfair at times, but I think it's because a lot of these tracks are designed with trial and error and just having fun in mind. They're awesome to get good at, but also fun to be bad at in a casual setting. Something that is stunning me though is the fact that this game isn't taken up by a really fat as fuck map. No, instead the map here is much more akin to the one in F-Zero. This one telling you the position of all the other races held by this little leaderboard during the top 4 races as you play. It's a significant jump in quality from the last map. It's better for gameplay as it's easy to glance at where you are and gives you a good idea as to where you're on the track, and it's better for your eyes because you're not wasting precious viewing space on a map the size of the Antarctic. Anyways, music here is great as always. Quite fond of the soundtrack for Mario Kart 64. Beats out Super's soundtrack by a landslide. There's so many iconic sounds this game has. I'll hear a song in this game and go, wait, that's from Mario Kart? They're all so recognizable and I don't think I've ever seen another game capture the amazing vibe that this game's OST does. And finally, the battle mode. It's good. Don't really have much to say. It's just that there are a lot of unique and memorable courses. Same positives as I have to say about the last battle mode, this one's just better. And that's it, that's Mario Kart 64. I love it. Mario Kart 64 is really clunky and outdated these days, but it still holds up as a good overall package. It's fun, and whilst there's a lot to improve upon, it really does set the stage for mascot kart races at the time. And you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really have much to distinguish itself. No special gimmicks, no dumb add-ons or crazy high-priced DLC, it's just a wonderful game. The gameplay itself and unique visual style managed to help it stand out from not only its predecessor, but other mascot kart races as well. And it wasn't just a game. It was something that not only defined a generation, but also defined kart racing for the future. Just like Garfield Kart!